If you're a landlord today or thinking about becoming a landlord, we're going to give you 3 tips. And these tips are very valuable because what we're going to show you on this video is going to show you one thing, how to screen properly. We're going to show you what happened to the property. And we're going to go through a court order from the landlord tenant board on an eviction. We're going to go through the timeline. And the most important part is you're going to see the house, how it was turned over to the landlord. So a bit of background on these folks is they've been renting this property in Newmarket for almost 2 years. First year went south. Long story short, $25,000 or 20,000 in that range was provided from the Red Cross to put it back in good standing. 2024, 2 months payment was received, and then they started the whole process again. So we're going to go through the court order, and we're going to talk about a few things that are really important of not to using real estate agents in transactions such as this. So, Dan, why don't
Well,
you?
the one thing too I wanted to add is we have done a video on this, but
True.
the
Yeah.
the reason why we're doing an update video is because you found out that they've secured a place and another place, and the proper steps weren't taken to make sure that they were good tenants, and they've already bounced their first rent check, correct?
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up. That jogged my memory a little bit. Yeah, I talked to on October, and people should go back and look at the previous video because it's the same people, but the landlord has tried a different order to get them on for damages. So I'm not going to talk a lot about that. It's in the channel. Go back and look at it. It's really good. It will give you some insight. Yeah. So when I published this video, I got in contact with their new landlord through the real estate agent because I put up the listing. They bought the property back in 2021. And then I called their agent to get their names. And anyway, long story short, they called me and I sent the video and we had a discussion and they paid first month's and they've already bounced last month's. So it's already, she even talked to the landlord in Newmarket and he told me that, they were really upset. They were crying because they saw the damages, right? This landlord was out. We're going to go through the exact numbers. Time it's all done, it's probably close to 30K. And plus there's probably 35, 40K worth of damages. So this video could be disturbing to landlords and make it scary, but this could have been prevented. So one more point that you're going to bring up already probably is that both of these people use real estate agents for the transaction, Dan, on the new property that they're in Barrie. And my number one question was, who represented us? You and the buyer. The buyer, when I say buyer, I mean tenant. Tenant had an agent. Seller, sorry, landlord had an agent. So it went through real estate fees, real estate stuff. In saying that, how did the reference check out? Oh, they checked out great. Oh, well, we know that's fraudulent because Mike didn't give him a good reference. I said, your agent or yourself should have made a trip down to this property while they were occupying it, unannounced. I think people need to take these measures today because imagine if you would have went down and you were renting out your basement and you took a drive to Newmarket 79 Allure and you knocked on the door and say, "Hi, it's Dan. Remember meeting me? Remember the conversation? Great. Here, I'd like to come take a little inspection of your house." Unannounced. I would do that. Whether it's not a normal practice, it probably is a normal practice. But too bad. You would have went, "Oh my God, am I ever glad I did this?" None of that was done. They didn't do verify any rent deposits to the landlord. That wasn't done. Where if you were taking someone, you'd want to see 12 months of rent deposits to your previous landlord, correct? Or checks through.
Well, I do and I don't. It depends who it is. But I mean, the one thing people have to realize, their credit scores were good. And their credit scores were
No,
good because they were paying everything else,
rent,
but they weren't
correct.
paying the rent.
So I think these professional people, because they are professionals, is that everyone's going really big on credit and they're kind of as soon as they see a great credit score, they become relaxed. And that's what these new landlords became. And this they became really relaxed. They go, wow, the credit was great. I bet it was great because they paid everything else except that. So they knew what they were doing. I really believe they knew what they were doing.
Well, the other thing is, Mark,
They stop
people,
asking.
and I've had it happen too. They lie about who their landlord was. They lie
100%.
about their references. Do you know, I don't even call references
Unless you
because
can
it's gonna,
verify it.
Mark, it's gonna be their reference credit, their personal references are gonna be their uncle, their aunt, their friend, their best friend, and the person's gonna lie.
But I wouldn't take those references. I'd want to see who the land. I'd want to be talking to Mike so and so as example, or Mark Turkov was the landlord. I want to verify. And
Okay, but
you know,
what
we're
if they
talking
say
to him.
Diane Neto was the landlord and Diane Neto wasn't? And they call me and I say, oh yeah, they were great.
Well, that's what they did is they just gave they get someone else to say that. That's a problem. And how do you verify that? If that was me, I'd be tracking where Diane Neto lives. If she has multiple properties, I'd knock on every door until I spoke with her. That's what I.
You know what I do? I go into a warehouse and see if that person actually owns the house.
Well, that's easy to do,
We
but
can.
we can do that. But let's talk about the agents. Did they verify that? They could have. We can't say they did. We can't say they didn't, though.
Well,
But
we
they did
know
know
that
who they were talking
well,
to.
I can tell you one thing. I can verify that they didn't call Mike, so they didn't look to see who the owner was.
Well, they did. Let's just pretend. Let's just give them benefit of the doubt that they did. Okay. This and
Well,
they
they
put.
didn't because they didn't call him Mark.
Well, it's going to a different level. Watch. So they put Mike's name there, and they put someone else's phone number there. So they're thinking they were talking to Mike. Possibly.
Okay. All right, yeah.
Possibly. So, because the agents, that's just 101, right? So I'm hoping the agent would have done that much. But looking at this, because the same thing happened with the landlord and 79 Lure. It was represented by an agent. The due diligence wasn't done. Bottom line.
Well, some of it was. Agents don't do
No.
none.
Not
They
enough.
they fill out a rental application. You're going to see their credit score, right? There's going to be something.
Something to verify that they have a job, a letter of employment, big deal. That to me, that's just shit that doesn't matter in a way. It matters and it doesn't matter because how would this if it they went really good on the credit, I believe, so that they could get themselves in and then the relaxation and the stress levels went down, going, great, these people are okay. Look at their high credit scores. They pay their bills. That's what they went on. And then they stopped doing their due diligence. I encourage landlords, Diane, to go not don't rely on everybody else to do the job because they're not going to do it as good as you can. Go beyond and above. So I
Yeah.
do. Why wasn't verification of rent shown to them from their last address?
Well, I've had a lot of people, even tenants, push back on that they don't want to give their bank statement.
Too bad. Too bad, I'd be saying.
Now, what I tell people is if they do want that from us, then print off the bank statement
Lock everything off.
and block everything with a Sharpie so you can't see any of other transactions but the rent.
That's it. It's not hard to do,
No,
right? That's easy to do. And do you think they went to openroom.ca, which
no.
is a free site that every landlord should be writing this down right now? Openroom.ca and going to it and punching in the names or addresses. You can see everything. So
Mark, not only landlords, real estate agents should be doing it.
I agree. I agree. This is what I don't get. The
Because
lack
how many real estate agents know about it?
well, not enough. I believe if
Not
you're
enough.
not enough, but if you're reppers, that's why I don't do it because I wouldn't want to put someone into a position like that. I just think it's just a disaster. Go hire a company, but just don't rely on everything. Do some of it, the work yourself. I know what I'd ask for.
Yeah.
I'd be going to their house. Anyway, why don't you bring up the order maybe and let's go through that because I want to, go through it line by line almost. This is really good. And mm,
So which one? There's two of them, right?
yeah, the newest one since August. I think that's probably the first one, Dan.
Holy shit, we have there's two of them, right?
Yep. Go the first one right up top and see. We'll know right away when we look at it. We'll know if it's the N4. What's the date on that? No, that's the first one we did.
Okay.
There we go. That's the one. I'm gonna put my glasses on, even though it's gonna bounce off. Um, yeah. So the tenants, William Hamlin and Shannon Hamlin. Okay.
Oh,
This
this
order,
is the adjudicator we saw when we watched the video.
right. We watched this.
Yes, we
So,
did.
so it was filed. So when the hearing date was May 27th, the date issue was August 6th. Now, we're going to go through the order, but we'll sum it up a little bit. In August 6th, it was issued out for an August 31st eviction date in a sense, but not an eviction date. Yeah, we'll call it an eviction date, but it has to be enforced through the sheriff. The actual date was October 9th. And if that, go back up one more time, I want to go through one more thing. So on that so October 9th, that's when the property gets possession to back to the landlord. If the landlord went in there anytime, he could be charged with trespassing. People, pay attention to this. Amount owed $24,756. That was from August 31st. The monthly rent was 2730. Okay, you can go up now. So we'll get the exact amount per diem during the we can show that later on. It's coming up. Please
So it
also,
took them from that May to August to actually issue this.
do you recall Shannon and William saying we need 90 days to
Yeah.
find a new place? And it's in here. We're gonna go through that. So he gave them 90 days to the end of August with that. Also want to make sure folks share this video, get the message out. Okay. Talks about when it was in May 27th. Here's the tricky part where me and you both know where these are professionals, so they know the system better than anybody. Okay. The tenants raised the issue of improper service of the N4 notice of termination. The whoops,
Oh, where'd it go?
I don't know, just pull up again. There it goes.
Okay.
So with that certificate of the N4 is just basically saying you have 14 days to put it in good standing. Then it goes to the L1. Yeah. So the tenants state that the landlord taped it and left the N4 notice termination on the door. Evidence was this is a known process serving his tenants with legal notices such as the N4 notice of termination was to either hand the document to them personally or to place it at or under the door and ring the doorbell until an occupant retrieves the notice. In this case, the N4 notice of termination is the landlords did not have a key to the community mailbox. In this case, certificate of service the landlords filed with the board indicates that the N4 notice of termination was served to the tenants on December 19th, 2023. 2008, I don't know, 2018, by leaving this document in the mailbox or place it where mail is normally delivered, the landlord further testified that it was his position that she didn't have a key to access the mailbox. He supposed a statement of COS or where the mail was normally delivered. The front door was the rental unit. So they didn't take this too lightly. You recall that too in the discussion?
Yes.
He talked about it a lot. He hammered the tenant on this in a way.
Well, and
Right?
see, left at the door and rang the doorbell. The notice was retrieved by the tenant's 17-year-old child.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So the tenants take the position that the application should be dismissed on this basement.
Yep.
I note the tenants did not deny receiving the N4, nor that it did not come to their attention. So what he's saying is the tenants didn't say that they actually never got it
Right.
because it was left with their kid. They're
Right.
saying that it was served in an unlawful manner.
Right. Right. And you know what? At the end of the day, Dan, they got it. I still couldn't believe what this adjudicator has done. I can't wait to play the video. It's gonna be shocking. What else can we see in there? Again, their tenants' evidence indicates they were
Oh,
aware
look
of.
at this. Subsection 191(1) of the Act and Rule of Practice 3.1 outline the various accepted methods of service by the board. Taping or placing a notice on or at the door is not one of them. However, sliding a notice under the door is.
Yeah. How don't we have weather stripping on outside exterior doors?
Yeah. A
Hmm.
notice or document that is not given in accordance with this section shall be deemed to have been validly given if it is proven that its contents actually came to the attention of the person for whom it is intended within the required time period. So it did actually come to the attention within the time period because they didn't they admitted they got it.
Correct. Correct. I, so these people really tried everything.
Oh, so the tenant's evidence indicates that they were aware of the N4 and in fact attended at the proceedings. Therefore, I find that the N4 notice of termination came to the attention of the tenants within the required time period, even if it was taped or placed on the door and retrieved by the child.
Good. Yeah.
And they did find that it was valid.
Correct. Okay. So hold on right there. So I'm going to go through. So I just want to count the days. I want to give the viewers the total compensation. So October 9th, how many days? Going to my calendar and check down. I just want to go through. So there's 39 days. So I'm going to times 39 days times the per diem a month was what, $89 and
75 cents.
keep it right there. Keep it. Don't
Well, I'm trying to see if they give us a total amount.
they do? It's up top. It's 24,000 and change. 24,000 up top. If you want to go back up, we'll come back down to it. There we go. It's 24. Keep going down.
I think it's up here.
There we go.
24,756.
Keep right there. 24,756. So all in all, that 10 and O is $28,256. You ever think they're going to pay, Dan?
No.
No, because you can't be careless in this. You just can't be careless in this whatsoever. And that amounts right up to October 9th. This guy's never going to get it.
No.
It's gone. It's gone. That's it.
Okay,
And
and it says that is directed to give vacant possession of the unit to the landlord's honor after September 1st. So tell me, how long did it take him to get a sheriff?
okay, so it's a good point. So I asked him many questions. So the next day when he got that order after the 31st, he had to wait till the next day. And that was, of course, the Labor Day weekend. So the Tuesday, whatever, September 4th, it was he got it down to eviction was October 9th. And I asked the sheriffs a couple things, and I asked them, okay, so what happens if he would have went in there, say, I don't know, September 5th, he could be charged for trespassing. Okay. So when they come, they basically have a form and he signs it. Great, we're handing the property back to you effective now. That's what they do. They took a big tour of the property. It was vacant, of course. Again, we're going to go to the video next on this to show it. The front door was open. We don't know how long it was open. So the sheriff goes, can't come in the house, like thoroughly check it because this door is open. We don't know who's in the house. So for your safety, you need to sit outside. So we did that. And they did a check for 20 minutes, walked through the house. Okay, safe to proceed. Here's your paperwork. Have a nice day.
Well,
So,
I mean, the problem is that these people, they're gonna live another year free
yeah,
somewhere
they are.
else, right?
They are. That's why it's so important to share this video. The more information that gets out is just alarming, right? And safeguard it. Like, I don't know what else you think that they should do. You know my points on it to what I would be doing, but
A
I don't
lot of
care.
my people, my investors and stuff do rent them out themselves,
Mhm.
but they do. I have one guy that's in banking and he always asks for the statement to see the rental payments on the first of the month or before.
That's number one thing. That's key right there. That's
And when I sold duplexes with tenants in them, I had to give 3 months or 4 months of my statements coming in where they paid on the first of the month.
I'd want 12 and I would want their names on it, right? I would want to make sure that this is exactly the applicant's names on these statements. I'm sure it would be anyway, but it doesn't matter.
It's not.
I know sometimes it's just there, but you know the amounts, right? You can see the consistently the first of the month being
Well,
automatic.
yeah, and the rental amounts, like when you have two units, they're not going to be the same amounts
Right,
rental. So
right,
you know the amount that person's paying
correct,
and you
correct.
see it coming in.
Yeah, yeah, correct.
I'll show you. I'll show people the video a little bit again, and they can see
Yeah,
what
we
the
won't.
heck you guys walked into, which was
This
horrifying.
is yeah. This should will put hair on your back. It will raise it. Trust me when I tell you that. It's Dan will try to make the sound as good because it's was recorded from my phone and we uploaded to the computer. A couple things I want to talk about that possession. So you're gonna go through. I'm gonna go through the home and
Oh, I stopped it.
show you what kind of damage that has been done to the home, what kind of estate, kind of personal property has been left behind for the landlord to clean it up. Um, there's property here. There's TVs, computer desks, etc. That is still their personal property. So under the act, they have to. We gotta wait 72 hours to, in case they come back for it. They can't access the property. There's a number on the phone on the order for possession that they have to call to come in and make arrangements to get the property. But they've left, and they've left all the crap. So this is what's happening in across this province. A little background on this is that tenants has been here since January, has paid zero rent to the property. I think it's Shannon and Todd won't reveal last names. They put a new residency up there, which is, they're going to do the same thing. This is really important for investors to see and do potential screenings. Hire professional people to do this. Do not do this on your own. This is what happens. And don't use real estate agents. Even though I'm a real estate agent, I don't specialize in renting rentals because I really think other people can do a better job than I can with it. And I don't want to put clients in bad positions, so I don't do it. But let's take a little tour of the property. We can see what is left.
One thing I want to pause here, Mark, and say the other thing is the reason why a lot of people don't use the property management companies is because they have to give them 10 to 15% of the rent. And right now, I mean, a lot of them, like, they don't cash flow and they don't want to give up anything because they're not really making much anyway, or if any.
Okay.
So if you're going to use a real estate agent, because a lot of people
Let's
do.
go back to let's go back to that though. Let's go back to that before we go on the real estate side of it. So I agree with you for sure because anyone's buying property right now, they wouldn't cash flow at all. But after they've already lost what $27,000 in rent or 20, so let me go back, $28,256. And then once we go through the video and we see it, there's probably 35K. So to me, would you rather give them 5K or end up having 60K worth of problems and debt? I know what I would take. I'd pay the
Well,
5.
I know, but you know what the problem is that a lot of people, like a lot of my people, they've rented out the property for years and they didn't get a bad tenant. They're not all bad, Mark.
Not all bad. I don't disagree. But do you think those people, and I agree, some of them have great success with it, and you've had good success. I've had great success too. But when you have a bad issue like this, or that's really close to home, like it's just 25 minutes down the road, and seeing the damage that I've seen in there in that video that will go and the map and the long lead times, the lost revenue, holy cow. And all the time, this guy's quarterbacking and get contractors to give prices. He's got bombarded with time constraints to get this, ready for the market to sell or rent back out, which I don't think he's going to do. I don't know. I would put it in part of my contingency plan. Okay, if I'm going to buy a property, I want to make sure I got, 5K in the bank here ready to pay the property management company because I don't want to go through the video I just saw from Mark and Diane. That's what I would recommend.
Or you tell the agent what you want.
100%.
I want to
100%.
see that their rent was paid on the first of the month for the last year. I want to see like you demand what you want. And this isn't any kind of transaction. We are there to help people and guide them, but they have control.
I
You
agree.
have control. You don't have to give up all control to somebody and say, "Oh, you know what you're doing, so I'm not going to get involved."
No, no, they need to be involved.
They
Right.
need to be involved
Need to be involved no matter what.
because
Right.
it's your property. The agent walks away. once the closing happens on November 1st, they take over. I'm out.
Gone. See you later.
I don't talk to the tenants anymore. I don't deal with anything anymore. It's over.
Now the landlord becomes a true landlord, and he's now the shit's on them or her to deal with.
Yes. And
And
it's not like a purchase and sale where, okay, now my client owns the property and it's theirs. This is something where there has to be a relationship between the landlord and the tenant forever now.
for sure, and we know how one-sided with this incident here, this property here, where they're there for 10 months rent free and destroyed the property at the end of the day. And that was a brand new property. And you can't get them out.
I know.
You got to go watch the other video because he tried other this landlords, and we're not getting into that, has tried many other avenues to get them gone. So you're just not getting them out, folks.
Well, and my problem is that this is a brand new home. It's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking.
Repainting, holes, etc. The stench is so bad. So,
Sickening. This is just the
free for 10 months, got an order back in August 31st.
The kitchen blows me away.
oh, it's unbelievable, eh?
So, and rent free almost for a year and left all this stuff. The garage is so bad smelling, the sheriff said. So,
Imagine how this new landlord feels that they just inherited these pieces of shit.
They're gonna freak. I'd be freaking out.
They were very upset. They were distraught.
you take it where.
And this goes on and on and on, and they're allowed to do it.
And have expensive landlords today. So this is tougher part. Being a landlord today is the risks are too high.
The other thing, it should have been first and last given to the brokerage. How could it bounce?
I don't know. I don't know, Dan. I don't know. I
So
don't
they
know.
made a deal to only get 1 month,
Maybe. Yep. No, no, didn't have to
obviously.
think so too. They gave first and last, so paid first month. Say I think they moved in at for September 1st, right? October 1st, bounced.
Bounced.
Look at the carpets, for the walls.
That's cat shit.
That's I know it's sickening. Destroyed. How people can just show that much disrespect because that's the system.
This kitchen is like trashed.
Trashed. Trashed.
Like, what the hell is leaking this bad?
They put something in the toilet. The plumber was there the next day, and I called Mike, and I asked, he goes, yeah, the plumber said they did this intentionally. This wasn't done. This wasn't an accident. This was done intentionally.
So they just left.
Look at all the water coming down, right?
Yeah, but Mark, if you look on this, hold on, because we're running out of time here soon. But if you look on this back wall right here,
House was unlocked.
Yep.
this yellow stuff, like this has been dripping for a while.
So, but remember, they just left. They said goodbye. We emptied out some buckets there. It was a mess. But so he has to go and take all this garbage and shit out, rent bins, kitchen, drywall. Is there mold? There's so many what ifs in there. Has to be done in a good way. Bathrooms are just pure disgusting.
People just pick up and carry on to the next property because it's allowed at expense.
This is horrible.
Wouldn't you like to drop this on Doug Ford's? Maybe Doug should come visit some properties. Why don't the landlord tenant boards just, you know what, do some inspections? You put the notice in about property damage, send someone out. Let them make the decision.
Well, yeah, I'm with you because the tenants won't let you in there to take pictures. I've had problems.
Sure.
I've had problems with other people trying to do this damage claim, and like the tenant's still in there, they won't even let them in.
Oh, no.
So like, and then they say, well, we need an inspection on the furnace or something to get in.
Yeah.
But then all the bedroom doors are closed. My kids are sick. This is happening. That's happening. They still don't let you in through everything.
LTB should put a representative to go to the property, especially if something's filed like this, because this would stop this. This would stop this right away. This should be that this then he tried to move this order up based on damages when he was there. When I inspected him on May 26th before the hearing, And I went there. I said, your carpets are destroyed. It wasn't near as bad as that. It was still a pigsty, but not to the level that it is 3 or 4 months later, Diane. Like, look at like that's just this is sickening.
It is.
So,
Well, now once they knew they were leaving, now they just let it just went like hog wild, right?
It just destroyed more of the property. It was in bad shape when I went there. So, um, I hope our viewers learned something. I hope, you know,
Ask for proof of payment and don't rely on references and credit scores.
and go to the house. Just show up unannounced. Show up. Do it. Show up. That's going to tell you the story. That's what I'd be doing today if I was in the rental business still. I'd just show up. Surprise visit. Hi, remember meeting me? Oh, yeah, great. Just thought I'd come on and say hello. Wonder if I take a little tour of your house. What are they going to say? If you say no, then you know your answer right there. Run.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Really? I'm here to do an inspection because I watched one of Mark and Dan's videos and I saw how a landlord got stuck with $30,000 in lost rent almost and probably 40,000. So I don't want it to happen to me. So I'm dotting my I's and crossing my T's. If you don't let me in, say la vie, great, we'll move on. I don't give a shit about the rights. I'm so sick and tired of hearing bad tenants have all these extra rights. I know what I do. This is your property. You turn it over, boom.
Well, and you know what? I just think it's so sad for the good ones.
Oh,
I've
I know.
had so many good ones that I can't get places. You know what
I,
I mean?
I agree.
Because
They want everything in the kitchen sink. And I don't blame them. Some people do, but when we look at these two people, the old landlord and the new landlord, wow, there could have been some things to prevent this, and you know, and I'm sorry to say, these tenants know what they're fucking doing, Dan.
I know they do.
They know what they're doing. Let's get the great credit scores on. Let's make sure it's A1. It puts everybody at ease. We
Let
get
her
it.
call Debbie and let her call this guy and let them like they put fake shit down. They tell people what they're doing and
Yep,
the people are expecting the call
100%.
and they
Yep.
they back them up and tell them bullshit and boom.
That's why you need to go to their house, or even knock on neighbors' doors too. How many people would know what's going on in that house right 79 Lure? He had his neighbors keeping an eye on it. They all knew what's going on. They tell it was a rental. They all knew. They knew what was going on.
Well, you know another thing I've heard
That
agents
house.
do? I've heard of agents showing up at the house to say they need documents signed to see what
Have to.
the tenant's actually like.
Agree. Well, I think we've covered the story pretty good. Leave a comment, share this information. It's so important, and subscribe for more information on our channel.
And go to open room, people.
Room.ca. It's critical.
And you know what? If you have a bad tenant, post it there. If
Post it.
everybody would share and help each other,
Agree. That's what it needs to be. Frontlobby.ca. You can go put update rental. Bad debts. You can, if the tenant's paying, put it on there. They're doing a great job.
yeah,
Put it on there. If they're not there, do something about it.
yeah.
There's becoming more and more platforms. 10 years ago, these platforms didn't exist, Dan. When we were doing
Well, and Mark, if you're going to rely on the government to protect you, forget it.
at it. Here's a prime example. They did
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks.
See ya.